Hello ladies, it's Crafty Kim62 here, and today it's one of the technique tutorials that I'm doing for my group Simply Craft and Swap. We're starting off with a one that people have asked for the speckled backgrounds, and the one that I showed the group was this one where the background is speckled and splashed and this particular card is from the event that we are having where we're using up things from our stash, and it was a die cut I had, a die cut of the butterfly that I had, and then some scrap paper that I had in my stash. So you could use anything that you had that you keep, and all crafters keep everything all the time. So I just put the card together, edged it with some ink, Tim Holtz ink, and that was scattered straw, and the same around the butterfly to give it more definition, and then did the splatter technique underneath and on top. So that's what we're aiming for. And from my stash, the colours that I want to work towards are the colours from this sheet of butterflies, which are greens and blues, teals, and I'm going to be making a background to match those. These were just picked up very cheaply from one of those pound shops, so we all have access to those pound shops and dollar stores, etc. So I've got my blending mat on here. I use my glass mat as well, but today I'm going to be using this. I'm using Rare Earth 2 inks, and these are the Azure and the Sage. So these are the Rare Earth watercolour drops, and the Spectrum War Sparkle one within a tin that you just shake up. It's what's in your Spectrum pens, like this one, the clear one, but this one is the blue one, so this is Starry Sky, and this one is the Glitter Gloss, and this one is from Tonic, the Tonic Novo, and these ones are the Wink of Stella, and this one is a blue and green. So you can see what I'm aiming for. And also one of my brushes, and this is sea green, because when you use a green, it doesn't actually come out green. I have got the green that it comes out on the top, but when you do this technique, it is browns and yellows and golds and greens and teals and blues, and it comes out rather pretty. These are two that I've already tried, and these are dry, but to give you an example, you can see, hopefully you can see the shimmer of the sparkle liquids. The brushes gives it a nice texture, so that one will work well with. I'm just going to switch this light off to see whether it's any better, and put my overhead light on. So I don't know whether that's any better, or whether we actually need two on to counteract. And there's that one. And this one is my cleanup. So you can see that this one doesn't actually have any of the sparkle on, but we will be using this one in the demonstration. So I'll just move those to one side for now. So the first thing to do is to get some colour on your mat. So I'm just going to dot around some of the sea green, the sage green, and then the blue. This one's the Azure blue. Doesn't matter how much you put on, you just want it down. and then some of the sparkle pen, and if you just give it a shake, and then just drop some of that on as well. If you're worried about ink, because you will get messy, then just use gloves, but I'm not bothered. This is a lighter green. Just get all of it so I don't waste it, or it'll just sit in the bottom. And then this one's the blue again. Wake up the sparkle. Splodge it down. Don't waste it. And a little bit of the plain. And then the new Spectrum War Sparkle. You just wake it up. You can hear the bead in there. And I'm just going to get my scoop. Dot that around. It does come out foamy once you shake it, but you can probably see it twinkling and it disappears. So I'll just rest that there so I can take all of that sparkle off, because we don't want to waste it. But I have actually, I did this one from the Nouveau. This one was empty, so all I did was unscrewed it, and then you press and it sucks up. Can you see there it's got a hole in, so you just press it and you can fill it up again. So that is very handy, and that's why I bought 3 of those rather than the different colours, because I have the colours in the pens. So why buy the pens, the ink pots, unless you're going to use an exorbitant amount? But I'll not be, because I'm very frugal with all of my materials. So what I'm going to do now is spray and just get it moving around a bit. I'm not putting my brushers on just yet. And then I've just got a plain piece of stamping card that you can stamp on both sides. This is from Crafter's Companion, and I'm just going to squidge it around. And there you get a lovely background. Now what you can do as well is, if you, this again is from the pound shop, it's called Air Duster, and it's to clean your keyboards and various things. It does have the attached, can you see that? I'll just turn this around. You've got like a straw that blows the air out. So you can see there it's gone to the edge, so I'm just going to blow this around, blow it back into the paper so I can get some different patterns on. And you can do that as much as you like. So I'll just move that back there. But before I do anything else with this, I'm just going to mop up after I cut some tags. These ones are the Studio Light tags. They're quite lovely. I use tags an awful lot. So I'm just going to sweep and pick some colour up, and you just dot around until you've got the coverage that you want. So I think I'm quite happy with that. And then, now this one, this is what I was talking about, using our bits. So this again is a studio light. It's from one of their album makings, but you can see when I made recently I made a batch of wedding cards, and this is what I used. So to use the same paper, this was all covered with the next layer, so I gutted those out. So when I do a new layer for this one, all I want is the edges. So I'm just going to pick up the colour on the edges and just work your way around, picking it up. So as long as you get it onto the edges, then you will be able to use this as a border and match it in with your papers as well. So I just want to do a little bit more on the corners where I've missed. On that one there, I think I'll put the greeny tones. And at any time, if you don't feel as though you've got enough on your mat, remember this is just the waste that we're using, you can always add some more. So I'm quite happy with that. I think I'll put a little bit more green on this section here so it's all even. So I'm quite happy with that one, and we'll let that one dry as well. But you can see I've still got a lot of paint on there and inks, and so I'm just going to give it another spray, but this one will be lighter, so bearing in mind that it's going to be lighter. So just some more tags, a little bit of the green that's on there, a little bit more defined there. So I'm quite happy with that one as well. It is paler, but it does have the colours. And I've got another tag here that'll take up, hopefully it'll pick up all of the colours and I'll not waste anything. With swirling it around, I may not get the definition of all the different colours, but I will get all of the sparkle that is coming out. So I'm just going to add a bit more onto the top, and this one will be more plain, but I'll be quite happy because it'll be the same tones, but it'll be completely different to the other ones that I've made, so it'll become a nice set. Right, I'm quite happy with that, so I'm just going to whisk that away. So there you have quite a lot of background material already, and now we're going to make them even special. So I'm just going to leave that one as it is because there isn't very much to catch on that. So I'm just going to put that to one side to dry. I'm going to move in my big one that I've made because this one's going to be, you'll be able to see it more. I'm just going to spray it to waken up everything again, and then I'm going to use my brushes. Now the brushes, I haven't opened these at all. None of the full brush sets that I've got have been opened. I've put a colour swatch on the top, and it has a pin in, and that means you can just get out a small amount. If you want a more spread, then all you do is just tap it a little bit harder in the places that you want it. And that is going to be a very economical way. So I'm just going to dab it on like salt and pepper. You'll not be able to see much at the moment, but once it wakes up, you'll be able to see. So I think that is enough because you can see that it's starting already. Can you see at that section there how it is just all going together? So I'm just going to give it another little spritz, and it'll start popping. And you just leave that. You can add some more air to get the pattern that you want. And I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to move that along, and I'm very happy with that, so I'm just going to leave it, and that is going to dry. And with the movement you can move the drips to get different textures. And these look like little starbursts when it's gone. So once this is dry, you'll be able to die cut it, use it as the background of your card, all sorts of things. So that is quite interesting. I do love brushos, they just amaze me every time. So just putting that one to dry, and I've got a few brushos here, so the palest one that I've got, I'm just going to pick that up on my tag, and you can see I've got some more colour, so I'm just going to turn it round and pick those ones up. And you'll see that all you have to do is just pick up all of the bits of grains, and then on this one you can see how pale it was before, but now it's got all of the colours coming down here. So then we've got all of this colour coming down, and that will make a lovely tag on there. So I'm just going to do another bit of a clean up. And you'll be surprised, if you haven't used brushos before, you'll be so surprised as to how much colour you think you've taken up, but you've actually got lots of colour on your tissue. So there. So I'm just going to put the pin back in. And move that along. Right, coming back to the dry one. I'm just going to give it another spritz. Concentrating on the part where it's white there. And I'm just going to again dab on, and you'll see the variance of colour coming out. And can you see this section here, how wonderful it's moving around? It's like a lake. That's lovely. I think I'm going to bring out a yellow or a gold for the brushos. You just bear with me one moment. And let's see. We've got a plain yellow, a lemon, and there's an orange, and a gamboge, which is one of the most stable colours you can use when you're doing anything. So I'll start off with this one, and I'll just pop that one into the mix. And see what happens there. So you can see it's like a fiery colour. I'm just going to add a little bit more water. And you can see it's now bursting. If you want to dry this, I would let it dry by itself. And I'm just going to run the excess off. So I can get some patterns. And it's coming down to the bottom. Just going to tap it to help it along. But you can see that background is really nice. So I'm just going to move that one out of the way for the moment. I'm not going to waste that. I'm going to get another piece of card. It's so quick and easy to make your backgrounds. I think I'll cut this one so I don't have as much background. I'm just cutting it by hand rather than my trimmer, just for quickness. and you'll be die cutting this and cutting it down to the size of your card in any event. So there's some brushos that have slipped off there, so I've picked those up there. That is the yellows, and again here I'm just going to spritz it, because as I showed you on the tissue, there's always more left than you thought. So picking up some more colour from the waste, and then I will keep that and add more colour because we need more colour. I'll just pick that last bit up, leave that to dry naturally, and I will just take off the excess again. And again, there's so much colour on that tissue. So what I'm going to do now is that this one is nearly dry, so I'm just going to give it a quick blast. Please excuse the sound. Stamping card is really good. You can see that it doesn't peel. It soaks up lots of water, lots of ink, and there's no damage to the top of the card. It will flatten out as well as it dries, but I just want it dry enough to do something else on. Check on the other side. Sorry for taking so long and for it to be so noisy. I'm happy with that now. So what I'm going to do now is the new inks, the waterproof dye and the alcohol proof dye. I'm going to use the waterproof dye ink, and this one is from Crafter's Companion, and it's just plain black. It actually looks blue and purple on there, but it is the solid black. So I'm just going to choose a stamp. I should have thought about this first. So I think I will use Tony Darrick's Stamps by Me, and this was actually the Create and Craft members gift. I think it's still available now, and it has got a beautiful bouquet stem of flowers with Celebrating You, Shine Bright and Happy Birthday. They're quite sizable stamps and they're quite good. Quite happy to pay the postage for those. So I'm just going to get my stamping platform down, and I use the Eureka. I do have the crafty one, but I do like this one, and I'm just going to decide first of all where I am going to trim it. So I'm just going to it down. Just going to use this as a guide. And those pieces I'll keep. Just line that up. So that's the piece we're going to work on. While it's in this side, I'm just going to give it a quick blast. You can see it's still a bit damp because it's curling up. It was the centre of the card that took the most of the ink and the water spray. But that shouldn't harm this because we're using the finesse water. So I'm just going to... Now I am going to have to put something on here because with my hands and fingers, I can't easily get into it. There should be like a little lip on there, I think, to let you get in. So I'm just going to put that one on there. And we will stamp quite a big stamp, this one. It's the first time I've used it, so I'm just going to decide where I want it. So I think I want it there, and then all you do is press it down. And with this being a polymer stamp, I'm just going to put that back in, put that on there. Keep it in place with the magnet. Do I want it to be there? Right, I normally put that in, but I'm going to take it out because it seems to be the right thickness. So I'm just going to keep that there. Do I want it there? I want the card more over here. So sorry for faffing. Yes, I'm quite happy with that there. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap over the stamp. And these stamping platforms are ideal for me, mainly because of my eyesight and mainly because of my hands don't work. So they are ideal, and if you're thinking of investing, then I would highly recommend any kind of platform. So just keeping that in place, and down we go. And all you do is, I just do circulars because I can't push, so I just do circular motions over the stamp, lift it up to see, and you can see that I've missed quite a chunk. So you just go back in, tapping away, more ink all over, back down, circular motions. I'll use the heel of my hand. But it doesn't matter because the paper will not move. You've got your magnets in. The stamp won't move. And it seems to be this area here that I'm missing. Yes, I've still got all of the ink on the stamp. So I need to concentrate more on this side than the other side, because the other side is perfect. And there's just I can see where I've missed. I'll pop that back down. and just press on that leaf there, because that's the only bit that's missing. And I'm happy with that. So I will just clean off my stamp. There's not much ink left on, so I'll just give it a quick blast of the tissue. Take it off, put it back in its home, and I think we will just have simply happy birthday. So take the happy birthday stamp off, and using the lighter part of the section that we cut off, I'm just going to place that on there. Just going to trim. Place my happy birthday where I want it to go. So I want it in the lighter sections with perhaps a bit of the white showing. So I will pop that down. And ink up the stamp. Just a reminder, I am using the Spectrum War black for watercolouring. So again, just pressing down. See whether I'll get it first time this time. Oh dear. Yes, I'm quite happy with that. So I'll just put that back. Don't know whether you're like me, but I have everything to hand. I have layered items, I have all of my cardstock that I use, I have all my Graphic 45 in front of me, my Tim Holtz inks and oxides, all of my Nuvo drops and my watercolours. I have everything to hand, so as I go I can just pick up what I want without searching. I do have my brushes and other art materials in drawers allocated to them, so that is what I do for that. So I'm just going to bring this one in, and you can see that it's very nice the way it is, but you want to make your stamped image pop more. So I'm just going to get my water brush and firstly with the leaves I'm just going to go in and just, if you go out of the lines, you're just going to revigor the colours that you've put down. Make them brighter and more solid, so you're bringing them all together but you've still got that watercolour feel. So there's a leaf there, and if you want it to be a little bit darker, I'm just going to bring in a drop of the sage. And I'll go into a leaf, bring the colour. I wouldn't go direct to the image that you are painting, because you may put too much ink on and you can't take it off. You will be able to water it and then take it off with tissue, but if you put too much on you may spoil the idea that you have. So I'm just going in with that sage, a little bit more, any paints will do. If you've got acrylics, if you've got watercolour palettes, then that's fine. All you want to do is get the colour down in your background and then enhance the colour that you have. So as I said, I'm matching the butterflies, and I'm just painting the leaves at the moment, so they are there, and we're just going in and painting the leaves. Nearly finished the leaves, just 2 more to go, and then we'll go on to some more colour. Around the flowers. And there you will see that all the leaves, you've lost none of the shimmer from the sparkle pens, so that is still all there, and you've used all of the ink. I'm just going to wipe that ink away because it's just a minuscule amount. And to bring out the colour of I think I'm going to use lemon. So I'm just going to tap small granules of the lemon, add some water, just bring my water pot forward, clean my brush, and I think I'll move over to a paintbrush now. So I'm just going to drip a little bit of water in, mix it, and you can see there it's now becoming yellow. So you don't have to use these as the science part where they just break apart, and now I'm just going to paint on top of the colour of the background that we made. Picking up the colour. Oh, going to have to go over this one because it looks as though I've painted part of so I'm just going to wet it, get my tissue and dab it to see whether I can bring some of the green colour out. And that's what I was saying to you earlier, be careful. So it's good that I'm making these little errors so I can show you, and putting all of that water onto the card with the ink on shows you how the ink line has not moved at all. So just picking up that colour, I'm going to keep it strong just for this section here. And then water it down for the rest of the flowers. You don't have to be precious in drawing, in painting in, because you have your background as a complement to your flowers and your leaves. So just adding the last section there. Just take that out of the centre. Just going to redo that. Add a little bit more colour. So as you colour, you can intensify the original colour by just going over. Going to get all of those granules mixed in. There's a bud at the top, so I'll just colour that bud in. Another flower at the top. This is a nice stamp. And there's a little bud down the bottom too. So I'm quite happy with that. With the happy birthday, I don't think I need to do anything with that, so I'll just trim that down and make that probably a flag and do it that way. So I'm quite happy with that. I think all we need to do is perhaps get the scattered straw out, which is a favourite of mine. And just for quickness, I store mine on the bottom with a piece of Velcro, and then if you've got your tool handy you can use your tool, but sometimes for quickness I just do and sweep it across the edge, and it'll tie in all of the colours. If you go over, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it. At the corners, along the sides, pull it in, and you can see how if you want it a little bit darker in the corners, then just put a little bit more colour into the corners. And then that will be great. So, oh thank you. Husband's just brought me a well-earned cup of coffee. You can probably hear me chatting away to you all. So you can see that with that edge of colour there, it brings all of it in together. And I'm just going to put that to one side, get my trimmer again, and I'm just going to trim. I'm going to leave that side. Don't throw all of these away because you'll be able to use those. So I'm just going to, I could use a die for this, but for quickness I'm just going to use my trimmer. And I think I need it a little bit thinner, so I'm just moving that along to just underneath the edge. And let's see how that looks. Right, I'm not happy with that, so I'm just going to go in better. So with this, I will throw those little pieces away, but I won't throw that one away. So with this, all I'm going to do is find the central point. I'm just going to snip up the front, and at this corner I'm just going to go into there, and then from this corner into that snip again, and you've got an even flag. So again with the ink, this is the scattered straw, so I'm just going to pick that up, and I'm just going to go in and around, and it's filling in those white gaps so everything ties in together. So I'm quite happy with that. Remember always to put your lids back on. Right, so that is that. So I'm very happy with that. So I'm just going to get my scoreboard. And I'm going to get a black piece of it, or shall I get blue? Shall I do blue? I think I'll do a blue and a white. So the blue that I'm using is Craft Perfect from Tonic, and this one is just navy blue. And I do like using navy blue, so I think I'll use a pearlescent card. But the first thing that I'm going to do is get rid of the ink, otherwise I'll have splodges of ink all over the place. So just bear with me 2 seconds. And I will add that and just dry that. So I'm going to make my base card. I've had this one. Oops, I do beg your pardon. Hope I didn't make anybody go dizzy there. Okay, just move that back up. I've had this scoreboard for 17 years, and it's the one that I go back to time and time again. You can do all sorts on it, not just doing your card base. So luckily I haven't put any finger marks on, but I am going to colour these sides. And just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm just going to use my corner punch. This is We Are Memories Crocodile, and this is the 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch corner punch. Those are amazing. So I'm just going to put a little bit, and this time I'm going to come off the edge because I only want a tiny bit. Again, I'm not worrying too much because everything will match and blend in nicely. So if you see any marks, don't worry. I know I'm not using the tool, but these little foam pads are great. So I'm quite happy with that. Just bring it in a little bit. Now that we have that, I'm just going to do a quick... So remember the blue that we had? So all I'm going to do is use my watercolour, and I'm just going to tap it gently, and it gives you a nice splat pattern. So that's the blue. I'm going to use the green. And the green's going in as well. You don't need any fancy tools, you just need to, and the closer you go to the nib, the more ink you'll get. So I'm just going to use this blue as well. And again, if you're worried, wear gloves, wear an apron. I've got a bit of a bubble there, so I'm going to get rid of that on my card. And then, just to add some sparkle, just going to add, I've used pearlescent card, but the sparkle